Number 10. Ebola. The Simpsons family predicted the March 2014 Ebola outbreak that has now gone down as the largest outbreak of Ebola in the history of West Africa. Well, in a 1997 episode of The Simpsons, Marge holds up a book for her audience, hinting at the outbreak, entitled Curious George and the Ebola Virus. Also, at the same time, Bart, her son, frantically points to a picture representing him in bed and dying from Ebola. Who would have believed The Simpsons would have predicted the biggest Ebola outbreak to hit mankind? Number 9. 9/11. Okay, we all remember 9/11, September 11th, 2001, when Islamic extremist groups associated with Al-Qaeda allegedly hijacked 4 airliners and carried out suicide attacks in the United States. 2 of the planes were flown into the towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon just outside Washington, D.C., and the 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Well, in an episode of The Simpsons entitled New York City Against Homer, The Simpsons might have known about this tragic event before it was going to happen. Lisa, Bart's sister, can be seen reading a magazine in the episode, showing a bold number 9, alongside 2 buildings symbolizing the number 11, right on the front page. Number 8. Stealing grease. Grease is used in a variety of industries, mainly the food business. In an episode of The Simpsons that was aired in 1998, entitled Lard of the Dance, the father and son duo, Homer and Bart, enter the Springfield cafeteria in search of grease to help them in the grease-selling business. Oddly enough, over 10 years later in 2011, there was reports of more than $3,000 worth of used grease being stolen from Bobby Tessler's St. Louis Wings Co. in Rock Hill, Missouri. The reason for this is that the used oil can be converted very easily into yellow grease, a commodity used to make biodiesel. It could just be a coincidence that 13 years beforehand, The Simpsons knew this was going to happen. But then again, we'll never know. Number 7. Batman and Robin. Many of us know who Batman is, but did you know The Simpsons actually predicted a unique part of the script that would later be used in the famous movie Batman and Robin? Well, in an episode titled Last Exit to Springfield, the episode opens with the McBain movie clip where he says, "Ice to meet you." Now, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but this exact same famous line was later on used by Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze character in the 1997 movie Batman and Robin. How did The Simpsons manage to make this prediction? It may not have been a prediction, but instead inspiration. Number 6. The Lemon Tree. This might be far-fetched, but what are the odds that The Simpsons would have predicted someone stealing a lemon tree? Come on now, who would do such a thing? Well, in 1995, during an episode of The Simpsons titled Lemons of Troy, kids from Shelbyville were accused of stealing a prize lemon tree from Springfield that carried great sentimental value for the long-standing community. However, it wasn't long after that in 2013 when in Houston a bizarre theft in the Oak Forest neighborhood happened, and it left neighbors scratching their heads. Well, yeah, you guessed it. Someone stole a lemon tree from that community as well. Number 5. Farmville. If you have a Facebook account, you've probably played, seen, or gotten countless annoying notifications from friends for Farmville before. No doubt. This farming game lets players cultivate their farms by plowing, planting, and even caring for their farm animals like cows and chickens. Well, The Simpsons predicted this game craze in a 1998 episode called Bart Carney, where it showed viewers a game called Yard Work Simulator. This same game could have fueled the Facebook game craze we know today as Farmville, which was the top game by daily active users on Facebook between August 2009 and December 2010. Number 4. Wrecking Ball. Okay, this prediction might be a shocker and a little far-fetched, but The Simpsons never cease to amaze us with their jaw-dropping predictions. In a 1994 episode of The Simpsons, Homer actually predicted and may have inspired the American singer Miley Cyrus's hit, entitled Wrecking Ball, which received numerous favorable reviews from music critics and listeners. Amazingly, Homer had predicted this number 1 US Billboard Hot 100 single many years beforehand. It held the number 1 position on the music chart for many weeks. Can you believe the single sold more than 3 million copies in the United States alone? Number 3. GMO food. Approximately 17 years ago, The Simpsons suffered from mutated tomatoes due to a nuclear plant. Interestingly enough, in 2013, Japan found themselves also with the exact same problem from the Fukushima disaster 2 years earlier. When a disaster from Japan's Fukushima nuclear plant found its way into the vegetable food chain, it caused bizarre deformities and lumps in tomatoes. How coincidental, The Simpsons predicted this so many years ahead. What made this even more interesting is that both instances involved tomatoes and many other foods. But then again, don't get me wrong, if you're watching this video, you most likely have eaten GMO foods also. Go ahead, just look up Monsanto. Number 2. Horse meat. In a 1994 episode of The Simpsons, an elementary school cafeteria staff member can be seen searching a metal drum of assorted horse parts, with a label on it saying "more testicles," while she prepares lunch for the kids. Maybe she was in the middle of preparing a broth or a stew, but what is clear is that horse meat was being consumed. Now, all this happened before the UK's Burger King horse meat scandal back in 2013, where Burger King in fact admitted that it is possible that some of its burgers sold at the time were in fact tainted with horse meat. Number 1. Donald Trump. Now, this one is a little creepy if you ask me. Not only did The Simpsons predict Trump would run for president, but from the looks of the building in the episode, it looks very similar to the one Donald Trump was in when he went down the escalator in real life. It was the Trump Tower. Also, it shows the same waving hand motion. During this episode of The Simpsons, there are numerous other similarities also. But wait, there's more. Later on, it shows that the country fell into massive debt following his presidential term. Now, believe me when I say this, I definitely don't want this to become true. The USA's current debt situation is bad enough. They definitely don't need more.
Okay, everybody, now listen to this. This is Wendy Williams in on one of her shows. Look what she says.
You see it. Let's do it in slow motion. You'll notice she's either giving birth to a frisbee or Stewie from Family Guy. Look at the shape. Look, do you see? There it is.
Now you see the mind control that they use. Now let's see. Now she laughs about Family Guy. We all know Family Guy in The Simpsons predicts futures. Okay, has knowledge of future events. Let me put it like that. So what are these people doing? They're making you mock something and sit there and laugh at the devil's works. Okay, so let me bring up some shows of Family Guy again. This is what they do. So you all don't know, you're actually praising the devil. Like when you go to church on a Sunday. This is a pagan world. I'm trying to show everybody. These are all pagans. Pagan worlds, pagan beliefs. You may be innocent and you may be going to church on Sunday, but you're not praising the right God. What they do, these secret societies, is lure people, okay? Lure people to praise the devil. Sun, day. These people worship the sun.
What's their problem?
They're still alive.
And then we thought, who's good at killing celebrities?
Me!
Accounts for us.
Psycho killer. Let's get sing. That princess who died, I'm gonna make you famous. Wait and see, honey.
I don't know if you could see back there.
Supposed Boston terrorist, supposedly the bombing mastermind, was also a convert to Islam. Here's Tamerlan, our Boston bombing patsy Islam convert, right up next to Peter's friend Mahmoud, who gets him to convert to Islam. At 3 minutes and 40 seconds, Peter is seen driving a car down a street, running over marathon participants. There are dead bodies and body parts on the ground and a big swath of red blood trailing behind his car. Though this had never happened before, we would see the same sort of scene on Boylston Street in Boston less than a month later at the marathon. I'm trying to figure out which scene looks more cartoonish. Then Peter is asked by a cartoon Bob Costas how he won the Boston Marathon, just in case there's any doubt as to which race was just depicted.
I'm Bob Costas, here with Boston Marathon winner Peter Griffin. Peter, how did you do it? I'll tell you, Bob, I just got in my car and drove him. And when there was a guy in my way, I killed him.
At 4 minutes and 20 seconds in, the front of the Quahog Public Library is shown. Remember, the first of the 2 fake bombs occurred right in front of the Boston Public Library. At around 5 minutes and 38 seconds in, the Family Guy writers find an excuse to throw in a seemingly random reference to a bowl of M&Ms.
Oh my God, look, a bowl of M&Ms. What are we, 6?
Directly across the street from the Boston Public Library is a candy store called Sugar Heaven, part of the staging area for the fake injuries. Not only were there pictures of M&Ms painted on the front window of the store the day of the marathon, along with a handmade M&Ms sign, but a big blue M&M statue stood outside the door right in the staging area. Yes, they planned it down to that amount of detail. Please note that M is the 13th letter of the alphabet. 2 M's equals 26, just like the 26 miles of the marathon and the 26 people supposedly killed in their other false flag, Sandy hoax. Peter ends up in the hospital due to a skydiving accident and meets a Muslim man named Mahmoud, and later mentions that Mahmoud knew 19 guys who died on 9/11. McFarlane's big on the 9/11 jokes.
Yeah, you know, if a teddy bear makes a joke about something taboo, like, I don't know, 9/11, it's still not okay. It's still not okay, but it maybe goes down a little bit easier because he's got cute, fuzzy fur.
At 15 minutes and 30 seconds into the episode, Peter is seen sitting in a bar attempting to make a call to Mahmoud using a cell phone that Mahmoud has given him. He dials the number once and puts the phone to his ear at 15 minutes and 41 seconds. A bomb goes off outside a short distance away. Peter says something about the phone being busted, then dials again, which triggers another bomb outside, this one louder and closer, accompanied by screams.
Look, I'm gonna call Mahmoud right now on this cell phone he gave me. He'll tell you. Damn phone's busted. Maybe I dialed wrong. Peter, please stop trying to call Mahmoud.
Exactly like the 2 fake bombs that would go off in Boston about a month later, separated by about 200 yards. At the very end of the episode, 20 minutes and 55 seconds in, Peter uses the same cell phone again and blows up the Quahog Bridge by dialing the same telephone number.
Tell you what, let me call Horace and tell him to get our table ready.
In this same scene, Peter asks his policeman friend whether or not the Muslims that were plotting the foiled attack in the story are going to get a trial.
So what happens next? Do those guys all get trials?
Why ask this question? I mean, a trial for someone accused of a crime is just normal procedure, right? Except normal procedure was not going to be followed about a month later. They knew this, and that's why this part is here. The feds invoked a public safety exception and questioned Dzhokhar Tsarnaev for 36 hours before reading him his Miranda rights. Normal procedure doesn't seem to have been followed for Tamerlan Tsarnaev either. That's why the policeman's answer to Peter is basically no.
It's the process.
See, if you get the American people so riled up about a supposed surprise attack that they don't care about the rights of the accused, on some level you're getting them to acquiesce to the evisceration of basic rights for everyone, including themselves. Keep in mind that the episode aired on March 17, 2013, St. Patrick's Day, with its deep ties to the Irish and therefore Boston. This is not a coincidence. The title again is Turban Cowboy. Turban is for the Muslim terrorists depicted in the episode and the real-life Muslim patsies at the Boston fake bombings. But the cowboy part? Remember the big phony hero from the fake bombings, Carlos Arredondo? He was called the Cowboy Hat Hero because of his white cowboy hat he was wearing as he pushed a man he pretended to rescue past the cameras for their staged photo op. Even the hat's been proven to have been just a prop that was switched during the picture-taking session at the beginning of the fakery. See, they not only foreshadow the event, but they also like to allude to their manufactured official story afterwards. Here they do it in the very name of the episode. There's another Seth MacFarlane cartoon named American Dad, and on the episode entitled The Missing Kink, which aired the night before the fake bombings, a teenage girl tells the boys she's just gone out with that she had a blast on their date. The boy's reply blatantly indicates further foreknowledge of the false flag planned for the next day.
I had a blast. Well, call the bomb squad, because with the blast I had, that makes 2 blasts.
Now that there's no doubt that Toady Boy McFarlane was fed information about the Boston Marathon false flag ahead of time and told to incorporate elements of the story into his idiotic cartoons, let's move on to a more recent incident that he foreshadowed, where someone may have actually died. Robin Williams' supposed suicide on August 11th, 2014. Immediately preceding the announcement of Robin Williams' death, the BBC Three network just happened to play a repeat of a May 2012 Family Guy episode entitled Viewer Mail Number 2. The show began at 11:25 p.m. London time. The news of the actor's apparent suicide broke at around 11:50 p.m., 25 minutes later. So take a 21-minute show, throw in some commercials, and the completion of the show and the suicide announcement happened at pretty much the exact same time. The episode is broken down into 3 parts. The first part, entitled Chap of the Manor, portrays everyone in the Griffin family except Stewie as British, and says it's brought to you by BBC One, just in case you think it's a fluke that it's shown on BBC Three right before Mr. Williams' death hits the airwaves. At a minute and a half in, the family is watching a game show called Wheel of Politeness. For some reason, the Family Guy animators have elected to give only 2 of the visible spaces on the wheel the correct number of prongs, like the actual wheel from the American game show Wheel of Fortune. The 2 spaces that don't have excess prongs are 300 and 600. So here's a nice backwards 63, which is Mr. Williams' age at the time of his death. The number of prongs is their sneaky way of pointing it out. In the 1998 movie What Dreams May Come, when Robin Williams' character dies and goes to heaven, his spirit guide says this to him.
Last time you saw me, I was 63, stretched out on a cardiac ward. Who wants to be 63 throughout eternity?
Yeah, who wants to be 63 throughout eternity? A little later in the same movie, his character's wife commits suicide. The climax of the Family Guy segment is a death that takes place in a tunnel. You'll never guess where Mr. Williams' character is when he dies in the movie What Dreams May Come. A tunnel. This is one of many examples of the cabal connecting their clues in different places. Like not only showing Lisa Simpson holding up this bus schedule to signify 9/11, but also having Bart Simpson hold up cash in front of it to tell you that 9/11 is laid out step by step in perfect detail on the U.S. money supply. At the very end of the Chap of the Manor segment, Lois says that she's just glad that everyone's safe and sound in their little row house. Peter looks at the camera and repeats row house, the same way he says roadhouse over and over again in another Family Guy episode entitled Brian's Got a Brand New Bag.
Well, I'm just happy our family is safe and sound back in our cozy row house.
Roadhouse. Keep the change. Roadhouse.
This show starts with Peter Griffin in a video store buying the Patrick Swayze movie Roadhouse. The video store clerk attempts to give him a free copy of What Dreams May Come, which we just talked about, but he flatly refuses it. The movie is placed on a shelf with other unwanted Williams films. A few minutes later, Peter says, "Get off my plane," as he starts to attack the family dog in a fit of Roadhouse kicking imitation.
Get off my plane. It's not even the same. Oh, what the hell?
This Brian's Got a Brand New Bag episode that shows the movie What Dreams May Come aired on November 8th, 2009. 11/8 is the date of Williams' death, backwards. In the second segment, called Fat Man and Robin, hundreds of Robin Williams clones are shown, and Robin Williams, in various incarnations, stopped Peter Griffin from committing suicide 3 different times. So it's very much about Mr. Williams. This segment begins with a roast of Mr. Williams, especially sickening because Mr. Williams would be cremated immediately after his death. Try as I might, I couldn't find one video on YouTube of a roast with flames on and around the initials of the
Yeah, he was cremated after his death, just like John Travolta's son and everybody else.
person being joked about. The story goes that Peter wishes that everyone was Robin Williams. He's given the power to change everyone into Williams, and soon he's done this to pretty much everyone in town, including almost every member of his family. When Peter changes the local news anchor into Robin Williams...
Alright, well, I just wanted to show you some things. I wanted to first start with The Simpsons. I wanted to then go to Wendy Williams in one of her episodes where she mocks about Family Guy and everybody's laughing. Because, please everybody, you have to believe me. From the inside, I'm telling everybody, this world is being run by pagans. Sunday, you're going on church. You go to church, you think you're worshiping your God. Those pastors are not worshiping our God. They are not Christian. Okay, these pagans were sent to our churches We are now for worshiping a false god. They lure people to worship the devil. They lure them. Wendy Williams, the devil likes to be idolized. Okay? Be careful, people. Get out of your churches.